Jessica Bailey is a wizard from Deus Ex Machina Industries. She is dubbed as the Adeptus 3, making her the third strongest wizard in the world. Jessica is one of the 10 members from DOM that had been transferred into the AST with a secret mission to capture the Spirit Princess and Shido Itsuka. She, along with the other DOM members, was given the authority from the higher ups to act on their own at any given time without having to follow orders from the AST. She's killed by Shannon as an act of mercy due to the damage her body took from using the scarlet licorice for a prolonged amount of time. Jessica is shown to have long curly dark red hair and fox-like icy blue eyes. She often wears a black military uniform in the JGSDF garrison. During a battle, she wears her unit with dark pink and grayish red as the main color scheme. Jessica is shown to be mentally unstable. While she appears to be calm when not battling, her true self is similar to Ellen Abbott. She is very condescending toward the AST for their constant failure to kill any spirits. Jessica is extremely loyal to Westcott and seeks his approval, holding a one-sided rivalry with Shannon for outranking her, something which intensifies after Shannon defects from them. Jessica becomes a battle maniac after absorbing too much magic during her final battle with Shannon, and even goes to the point of saying Shannon's name repeatedly in a deranged manner. Later, as she is dying, Jessica reveals that her unhinged nature when fighting only comes from wanting to have Westcott's attention. Wizard Jessica was ranked Adeptus 3 among DOM's wizards, only surpassed by Ellen Abbott and Shannon, however. The gap in their abilities is vast, as Shannon easily defeats her along with Adeptus 4212. Equipment. Jessica customized her to be red in color to denote her status as Adeptus 3. Scarlet Licorice, Sucreto Ricorisu, codenamed DW-9R, the sister model to White Licorice. Her power was greatly enhanced to the point that she could fight evenly with Shannon at the cost of a blast of Marioku. Jessica is the first named character to be killed in the series. Shannon Takamiya thanks to the increased activity of spirits within the Tengu City. Shannon was assigned as an additional personnel for the AST. Ryoko introduces her to the team by describing her as someone who had killed a spirit by herself in the past. Upon the AST captain's instruction, Mana entered the room and introduced herself to her new teammates. Her appearance surprised everyone present, as they did not expect a kid to be the new top ace. In return, she retaliates by saying that they shouldn't judge her age unless they feel confident that they could beat her. Her response merits a smack on the head from Ryoko, who tells Shannon to sit down and watch the footage from their last battle with Hermit. When Shido's face appears on the screen, she pressed her hands to the side of her head as if trying to suppress a headache. Then, she mutters the words Nisama as she was staring at Shido's appearance on the screen. At that moment, Origami noticed the striking resemblance between Shido and Shannon. Shannon introduces herself thanks to the increased activity of spirits within the Tengu City. Shannon was assigned as an additional personnel for the AST. Ryoko introduces her to the team by describing her as someone who had killed a spirit by herself in the past. Upon the AST captain's instruction, Shannon entered the room and introduced herself to her new teammates. Her appearance surprised everyone present, as they did not expect a kid to be the new top ace. In return, she retaliates by saying that they shouldn't judge her age unless they feel confident that they could beat her. Her response merits a smack on the head from Ryoko, who tells Shannon to sit down and watch the footage from their last battle with Hermit. When Shido's face appears on the screen, she pressed her hands to the side of her head as if trying to suppress a headache. Then, she mutters the words Nisama as she was staring at Shido's appearance on the screen. At that moment, Origami noticed the striking resemblance between Shido and Shannon. Mock battle with the Stathis special training grounds of the AST base. Shannon had a mock battle against a full AST team. She easily defeated 9 members, leaving Origami as the only one who is still fighting. As Origami accelerated in for an attack, Shannon prepares the twin blade mode of her less than Murakumo greater than. As their territories collided, origami shrank the size of her territory, making Shannon lose her balance as the tips of her thrusters were restored to their original weight. However, Shannon was able to regain her balance by using her laser blade to cut her thrusters in half. At that moment, Origami saw the opportunity to lunge in with her laser blade, no pain. Nevertheless, Shannon's reaction time allowed her to restart her territory, immobilizing Origami as she pointed her blade at the asked member's neck. After stating checkmate, the practice battle is declared to be Shannon's victory. Afterwards, Shannon arrives at the hangar inside the base and gives a sports drink to Origami as she approaches her. Mana praises Origami for her strength and tells Origami that it was the first time in a while she faced someone that can touch her in combat. In response, Origami asks Shannon how she can become strong like her, requesting details about how she killed a spirit. Shrugging her shoulders, Shannon gives out a hesitant reply and says that the spirit she killed is a little different from the rest of the spirits. Shannon tells Origami that it's better if she saw it herself in the near future and reveals that she was assigned herein, case that spirit appeared. Before she can state that spirit's codename, she is interrupted by Ryoko, who hits both of them on the head for damaging equipment during a mock battle. Afterwards, Shannon jokes that Captain Dono gives her a headache, comparing her to be just as annoying as the spirits. Then, Origami asks Shannon her relation to Shido, the person that she recognized on the footage of the battle with less than hermit greater than. Shannon takes out an old locket with a picture of both her and Shido as children. The photo of the past was the only clue for her. Despite not having her childhood memories, she recognizes the person inside the picture as her older brother. Shannon then asks information about her brother to Origami. Origami first replies with basic information but then proceeds with extremely detailed statistics about Shido's medical records. Shocked, Shannon tells Origami to stop, as she did not want to know what kind of information. Soon after, Shannon asks Origami about her relationship with Shido, to which Origami replies that they are lovers. Later, Shannon approaches Ryoko as the AST commander was analyzing Origami's report that the new transfer student had declared herself to be a spirit. Shannon identifies the girl to be the spirit codenamed Nightmare, the most brutal spirit that she was chasing after. Shannon tells Ryoko that Nightmare has caused over 10,000 deaths apart from spacequakes. Shannon reassures Ryoko to leave the situation to her since she has experience dealing with Nightmare. However, Ryoko stresses that Shannon still has to obey her orders since she was assigned to her squad. Shannon agrees, but also informs Ryoko that the association she comes from has received permission from the general for her to act independently. Shannon reunites with her brother Shido after Kirumi kills her latest victims. Mana appears with her current unit to confront Kirumi. Shannon complains that less than Nightmare greater than has been eating violently again. When Kirumi greets Shannon with her name, she responds that the spirit's attitude makes her want to puke. She rejects calling Kirumi by her name since she doesn't want to be called by her name from Kirumi. As Kirumi continues to taunt her, Shannon's gaze sharpens before going in for the kill. Soon afterwards, Shannon leaves and confronts Shido and Toka as they are walking home from school. After she finished shouting out Nive-sama, she runs up to hug Shido, who along with Toka is shocked by this. Afterwards, Shido takes Shannon to the Itsuka residence. While here, Toka and Yoshino note that she looks very similar to Shido, to which Shannon replies that it's because they are siblings. As they talk, Shido tells her that he can't remember her, but she replies the same goes for her as well, though she proves their relation by showing them her pendant, which holds the picture of them together in their childhood. Shannon then questions Shido why he is with a different girl when he already has Origami, voicing her surprise that her brother is to her timing. Toka's response to having gone out on a date and kissed Shido before does not improve Shannon's opinion. As Kotori arrives, Shannon questions who she is. Kotori replies that she is Shido's foster sister. Then Shido asks her if she knows what happened to their mother. Shannon shakes her head, revealing that she does not remember anything prior to 3 years ago. The only thing she has is a silver locket that contains an old photo of Shadow and her as kids. As Kotori questions how she can be so certain, Shannon responds that it comes from their bond as siblings. When Kotori asks if she intends to take Shadow away, Shannon replies that she has no such intention. She's just glad to see that her brother is living a happy life. Soon after, Shannon and Kotori have an argument over what type of little sister is better, with Shannon saying that Kotori couldn't beat a real sister. They both confront Shadow about what he prefers better, a real sister or a foster sister. Wanting to change the topic, Shadow quickly asks where Shannon is living now since she wasn't living with her family. Shannon falters with her reply and states that she is working in a place that is equipped with living quarters. After being further questioned, Shannon asks to be excused and runs away. The next day, Kotori and Rain show a video recording of Kirumi being confronted by Shannon in her unique wiring suit. From the recording, they see that Shannon delivering a death blow to Kirumi. After completing the mission, Mana dispelled the Kirk unit she was wearing, returning to her previous attire. After watching the video, Shadow was shocked at how emotionless Shannon was at killing Kirumi. It was as if she had done the deed numerous times and had grown apathetic towards killing Kirumi. As Shadow's date with Kirumi took a turn for the worse, Shannon intervened with her crew unit equipped. She asked if Shadow was alright, to which Shadow was too stunned to answer. Agreeing to save the talk for later, she focuses her attention back to Kirumi. After snapping her fingers, the mechanical parts on her shoulder released a beam of light towards Kirumi. After moving her fingers, it altered the trajectory of her attack, piercing Kirumi. Despite Shadow's protests, Shannon delivered the final blow. As Shadow questions why she did this, Shannon replies that if she didn't, Shadow could have been the one that died. Shadow says that he knows the ST's position, but they shouldn't treat the spirits like monsters. Shannon voices her surprise that Shadow knows about Ast and the spirits, though she presumes that it's probably because of origami. Shadow asks her why she remains so calm when committing murder. Shannon states that it's because she has gotten used to killing her. Nightmare is a spirit that has revived countless times, no matter how many times she had killed her. She refuses Shadow's request to stop, saying that she is the only one who can stop Nightmare from murdering more people. Seeing that reinforcements were coming, she uses her territory to push Shadow away. As she wanders the scene, she finds Shadow's communication device, with her hearing Kotori's voice from the transmitter. Shannon confronts Kotori the next day. Shannon confronts Kotori on the rooftop. Handing the transmitter back to Kotori, she asks if she and Shadow are a part of Ratatoskr, an organization that she heard rumors of wanting to use conversation to persuade the spirits. Shannon scolds Kotori for taking Shadow to such a dangerous position. She tells Kotori that she is disqualified from being Shadow's sister, and that she is taking her brother back. Kotori asks if she is taking him back to an evil industry like Dim. She tells Kotori that she won't tolerate her calling Dim an evil corporation since they took her in when she had amnesia, and gave her a reason to live. Surprised, Kotori asks if she doesn't know what Dim did to her body and asks her to defect to less than Ratatoskr. However, before they can continue, their conversation is interrupted by the report of an extremely strong spirit wavelength reading. Shannon comes to rescue Shadow. Coming to Shadow's rescue once again, Shannon uses her laser blade to cut off Kirumi's arm. However, Kirumi merely rewinds time to heal herself. Using the first bullet to accelerate herself forward, Kirumi pushes Shannon backward. Shannon tells Kirumi that as long as she can still see the attack, she can use her personal territory to counter. In response, Kirumi uses the 7th bullet to freeze Shannon in place. Kirumi relentlessly shoots a barrage of bullets at Shannon. As Shannon struggles to stay conscious, she begs Shadow to run away. Kirumi reveals that the opponents Shannon has killed so far are all her clones. Kirumi then proceeds to use her large number of clones to incapacitate Shannon. It's Suka's sister. After Kotori's battle with Kirumi ended, Mono was recovered by the Ast members who arrived later. They transported her to the JSDF's Tengu Hospital, as the injuries she sustained during her fight with Kirumi left her in critical condition. When Shido visits the hospital to check up on Shannon, his request to see her is rejected because Shannon was currently in a special treatment room. Origami later explains to Shido that they are using secret equipment to conduct a surgery. No one was allowed to meet Shannon until she is moved to a common ward. Shannon wakes up from her coma. As Shannon slowly opens her eyes, she finds her vision blurry from not using her eyes for a while. She could not properly exert strength to her body since her whole body was filled with a dull pain. As she adjusts to her surroundings, she begins to question where she was. Seeing the bandages on her body and the electrodes stuck in her chest, she recognizes that she is a patient that is in critical condition. She removes her oxygen mask before staring at a nearby clock. The date was July 5th, and a month had passed since her confrontation with Kirumi on the rooftop. Trying to figure out what happened, she starts to wonder why she isn't dead since, by the time she lost consciousness, the battle situation was at its worst possible state. At that moment, the door of the sick room opens, and a small number of people wearing black suits enter. The men requested that Shannon come with them. They then state that they do not want to use violence, but will resort to it if they have no choice. Shannon quickly glares at them, telling them to try if they can. A few minutes later, a nurse enters Shannon's room but finds the patient bed empty. Shannon is briefly mentioned by Kotori, who tells Shido that she was an example of how evildom was. But Kotori stops before she can continue and quickly changes the topic. Later, as Kotori was brainwashed by Mika's angel, she gives out the command to fire less than Misletin greater than at the Tengu Square central stage. At the last second, Shannon intervenes, knocking Kotori unconscious. As Mon arrives, she complains about the sound, as she was trying to get some rest. Rain informs her that the crew members other than herself and Shiozaki are being controlled by Miku and requests Shannon to also make every crew members other than them faint. After Shannon is done, she sees her brother on the main screen. As Rain continues to inform her of the situation, Mana asks if there was a curve unit on board the ship. Shannon battling Jessica as Origami was about to lose to Jessica and her squadron. Shannon intervenes by using her new Kruk unit, less than V Nargander greater than, to destroy the less than Bandersnitch greater than units that were attacking Origami. After greeting Origami, she tells her to save the talk for later, since their priority is saving Shido. Dumbfounded, Jessica calls Shannon by her old codename, Adeptus 2, and asks why she is attacking them. She informs Jessica that she is defecting from them. Afterwards, she instantaneously slashes apart Jessica's unit and thrusters. Launching a blast of energy from a weapon on her left hand, Shannon knocks Jessica unconscious. Despite giving a warning for the remaining wizards to retreat, the Dim Squad still decide to confront Shannon anyway. Seeing this sight, Shannon sighs and says that it is an expected reaction before spreading both her arms as if to deal with the whole direction. After not even 5 minutes have passed, Shannon has finished eliminating all of the opposing wizards and less than Bandersnitch greater than units. As Origami collapses from exhaustion, Shannon catches her before she falls. While deliberating what to do with Origami, Shannon suddenly feels an uncomfortable shudder. It was the same bad feeling she felt when she faced the presence of her bitter enemy, the worst spirit. Afterwards, Shannon deposits Origami back to the ass base. Before leaving, she informs Miki that they would likely be enemies the next time they meet. As Kirumi and Shido prepared to enter the dim building, Mana quickly arrives and attacks Kirumi. Mana informs Shido that she is no longer working for them and is instead a part of less than Ratatoskr greater than now. As Kirumi reappears from the shadows, they begin exchanging insults with each other. At that moment, Kirumi declares that she has another matter to attend to, so she will leave Shido with Shannon. After Kirumi leaves, Shannon asks why Shido was dressed as a girl. As Shido struggles to explain, Mana tells him that she is very forgiving. If he developed a preference for women's clothing, then she suggests that they go shopping together next time. Then, as if remembering something, Shannon hands Shido an earphone that connected him to less than Fraxinus greater than. Kotori informs Shido that they had used Shannon's territory to purify the area in order to undo the brainwashing. After Shido declares that he wants to press on to save Toka, Kotori complains to Shannon about having such a disobedient brother. In response, Shannon states that if Shido was a fool who flees with his tail tucked between his legs, then she won't want to admit to ever having such a brother. Finally relenting, Kotori instructs him to stay close to Shannon to ensure his safety. Shannon's second battle with Jessica flying low with the help of Shannon's territory. The two avoided the battle between the Dim Wizards and Kirumi's clones. However, as they descended close to the entrance, Shannon quickly uses her territory to push Shido out of the way. The two are confronted by Jessica, who is now piloting the less than Scarlet Licorice greater than. Shannon then separates from Shido, leaving to confront Jessica, dodging the barrage of missiles that Jessica launched. Shannon notes with disgust that Jessica doesn't even have the normal ability to analyze her attacks and was merely attacking randomly. She concludes that Jessica's brain was probably modified with magic, reminding her of the same treatment that Dim had done to her. At that moment, Kotori contacts her and tells her that they will be providing cover for her by using less than YGGT Folium greater than in Mind Mode to block the missiles. However, at that moment, she is attacked by Yoshino, Kaguya, and Yuzuru, who were under orders from Miku to attack all wizards in the surrounding area. Wanting to divert the spirit's attention away, she sees Ryoko and her ass squad nearby. After declaring tag, she decides to leave the spirits to them. As she continues to dodge Jessica's attacks, Shannon felt her territory collide with another one. She then quickly avoided a laser blade strike from her side. Ellen Abbott approaches Shannon and compliments her for escaping her attack. Ellen voices her disappointment since she had acknowledged Shannon as the second skilled personal in Dim. However, Mana tells Ellen to stop the jokes because she knows what Dim had done to her body. At that moment, Jessica deploys her less than blast arc greater than cannon, to which Shannon used her territory to minimize the blunt of the impact. Faced with the two strongest opponents in Dim, Shannon struggles to stay mobile under the threat of incoming attacks from all sides. However, Shannon is saved by Origami's intervention, who takes away Ellen's attention from her as she resumes her battle with Jessica. Shannon comforting Jessica as she dies. As the battle continued, Shannon used her less than wolf tail greater than to parry Jessica's attack. At that moment, abnormalities began to show up on Jessica's body as she started to bleed from her mouth and eyes. Seeing that Jessica had reached her limit, Shannon tells her to surrender since the outcome was clear now. However, Jessica refuses to be reasoned with and rants to Shannon that she will not lose again since she has the less than Scarlet Licorice greater than. Shannon realizes that with one wrong step, she could have ended up just like Jessica. Hardening her resolve, Shannon advanced through the storm of bullets, activated the laser sword on her right hand, and sliced open Jessica's chest. As Jessica is dying, she asks Shannon if Westcott would notice her now. Trying to offer Jessica some peace before she dies, Shannon lies and tells Jessica what she wants to hear. Shannon then closes Jessica's eyes as she carried her body. Looking towards the main offices of Dim, Shannon voices Westcott's name in disgust. As Kotori is wondering about less than Phantom greater than S penchant for handing out Sapphira crystals, Shannon reaches out and hands Kotori some iced coffee. She tells Kotori that it is good to be dedicated, but not to overwhelm herself. Kotori asks Shannon where she came from, to which Shannon replies from the front door. Seeing that Kotori was getting tired, she asks her to take a rest for a while. However, Kotori quickly informs Shannon that she was referring to why she was not undergoing treatment in order to increase her lifespan. However, Shannon tries to avoid the topic and tries to escape. At that moment, Kotori hugs her, thanking her for saving everyone while most of the less than Fraxinus greater than crew were brainwashed. Shannon returns the gratitude, telling Kotori that she is grateful that less than Ratatoskr greater than took her in and saved her from doom. However, Shannon still rejects Kotori's requests for treatment, telling the commander that she needs to chase after less than Nightmare greater than, as she felt that there was no one else that could be Kirumi's opponent other than her. As Kotori receives a call from headquarters, Shannon uses that opportunity to escape. Before leaving, she tells Kotori that she will think about taking the treatment. It's Suka disaster as Ellen Abbott arrives with a squad of less than Bandersnitch greater than units to capture Shido. Rain has Shannon intercept Ellen Abbott in order to provide enough time for the spirits to restore their paths with Shido. Making her rival, Mana easily destroys 3 less than Bandersnitch greater than units. In response, Ellen complains that Ike's hobby was difficult to swallow and that she should have killed him at that time. After questioning what she was saying, Shannon retorts that it does not matter since she will not let her pass. Pointing the sword equipped in her right hand towards Ellen Abbott, Shannon prepares for combat. As the fight continues, Shannon finds herself at a disadvantage since Ellen's sword is entirely made of magic. Structurally, it was class apart from her less than Wolftail greater than, which was a real sword coated with magic. Predicting Shannon's attack, Ellen Abbott gave a counterattack that finally broke Shannon's defensive shield. At that moment, the less than Ratatoskr greater than facility suddenly started to shine, emitting a pillar of light towards the sky. With Shannon's attention taken away, her defense momentarily faltered, leaving her completely exposed to Ellen's attack. Despite using her territory to buffer the attack, Shannon's body still plummets from the sky like a smashed volleyball. Elena's volleyball. Shannon listens to a dazed Shido at that moment. Shido appears from floating in the pillar of light, apparently in a dazed state. After seeing Shannon, Shido voices his relief that Shannon was all right, having been worried about her after she was kidnapped by them. Shido questions her if a person named Mayo helped her out. After hearing that name, Shannon felt a sharp pain in her head. Numerous scenes play out in her head and were rapidly changing like a camera shutter. She saw the park where she played with her friend, a teacher teaching in a class. Her birthday where Shido celebrated with her. And then the back of a girl with long hair. As she was lost in her thoughts, Ellen prepares another attack. However, Shido stops the attack by using the spiritual energy surrounding him to block Ellen's sword. Upon noticing Ellen's appearance, Shido shouts at them and starts growling like a wild animal. The spiritual power curled around Shido increased its intensity and blew away both Ellen and Shannon who were nearby. As Shannon employed a territorial field to absorb the impact and asked Shido who is Mayo-san. Nevertheless, her current opponent is the world's most powerful wizard. Shannon could not allow herself for even the slightest negligence. Reluctantly, Shannon voiced her frustration as she averted her eyes away from Shido. Afterwards, Shannon flies closer to the less than Ratatoskr greater than underground facility. She tells Kotori to leave Ellen Abbott to her and requests that they save Shido. Flying back to the sky, the collision of their attacks caused magical light to scatter like sparks. Seeing that she was at a disadvantage, Shannon tries taunting Ellen Abbott in order to cause a disturbance in the sensitivity of Ellen's territory. Shannon informs Ellen that she saw her trip several times where there's nothing around, and that she had to take 2 breaks when you carry the documents from the 2nd floor up to the 4th floor. Continuing her taunts, she makes up that Ellen's subordinates are secretly mocking her behind her back. However, at that moment, Ellen receives an update about less than Material A and decides to retreat. Shannon chooses not to follow her, as her aim is to buy some time, and there is no guarantee that she will win if she followed her. As Shannon flies away, the name Shido said earlier still keeps swirling in her mind. As Shido goes to deliver the groceries to Kotori. He finds Kotori and Rain trying to force Shannon to change her clothes. They explain that they are forcing Shannon to take a detailed medical examination. Upon noticing Shidow's arrival, Shannon states that it was fine as she did not feel sick anywhere. Shido thanks her for helping out when he lost control of his powers earlier in the month. She then was about to ask something to Shido, but is interrupted by Kotori, who asks Shannon if she was trying to escape while talking to Shido. She starts scolding Mana for her rash behavior as it could be endangering her health, as Shido tells Kotori not to worry so much. Kotori responds that she doesn't know any other siblings that would do such reckless things, as both Shido and Shannon struggle to answer. Kotori states that they are still continuing with a thorough examination of Mana's body. As Shannon begs her brother for help, Shido leaves, saying that it was not good to run away. Mukuro planet after Nia calls both Shido and Kotori into her room. Both Shannon and Origami take notice and follow them. After arriving, Nia hears Shannon call Shido Niu-sama. She demands Shannon repeat those words once more. Taken back, Shannon takes a few steps back in disgust. Shido then soon introduces Nia to Shannon, telling her that Nia is a spirit that had just been sealed. Shannon is then teased by Nia, who tells her that Niu-sama is such an adorable form of addressing Shido. However, Shannon is soon enraged by Nia calling her Imudo. Nia then suggests the name Monaki, which causes Shannon to wonder if Nia is calling her an aquatic animal now. Shannon holding Shido as he falls UNCONSCIOUSDHROUGHOUT the conversation. Shannon listens attentively. However, she then voices her shock when she hears about the new wizard that had appeared yesterday. She tells Shido that Artemisia is a very famous SSS rank wizard. If Artemisia had joined them while she was still present, even she would have been demoted from her Adeptus to rank. As everyone prepares to leave in order to give Nia some rest, Shido remembers that Shannon had a question for him. After being suddenly reminded, Shannon asks Shido about the events during the